Black Friday and Cyber Monday will be here before you know it. And here's the thing, if you wait until November to get your email list ready, it's going to be too late. Why? Because platforms like Google, Yahoo, iCloud, Outlook, they are watching you for consistency. And if you are not starting now with consistent emailing, good practices, and sending to engaged subscribers, you're not going to have enough time to build that trust and that sender reputation. This is super important because that sender reputation is what determines if you land in the inbox or in the spam folder. If your emails are not landing in the inbox right now, they're not going to magically start landing in the right place once you launch your big sale. That's why you need to start building your sender reputation and that trust now. Let's talk about why your sender reputation matters. Think of your sender reputation like a credit score for your emails. Inbox providers are watching every move. Are your emails being opened? Are they being clicked? Are they being ignored? Or even worse, are they being marked as spam? Each positive interaction strengthens your sender reputation, but this doesn't happen overnight. It can take weeks to improve your sender reputation, which is why you want to get started now if you want to be ready for the biggest sales season of the year. Now, here's the hard truth. Not every subscriber on your email list is helping your sender reputation. In fact, if you are sending to subscribers who are not engaging in your emails, that could be damaging your sender reputation. Inbox providers see this lack of engagement and assume that your emails are not valuable. And if you continue to send to these unengaged subscribers, it can actually prevent your emails being seen by the people who do actually want to receive your emails. Think of it this way. So let's say you send 1,000 emails and only 100 people engage with that email. That's 10% of people that were interested in that content. Well, the inbox providers see that only 10% of people actually wanted that email, and they can start to determine whether or not that email was valuable to the audience that received it. However, if you send to just those 100 people who are constantly engaging in your emails, and you send that email and those 100 people open that email, well, the percentage is far higher because again, you only send to the people who are engaging. Those inbox providers see that 80-90% of people that received that email engaged with it. So it must be valuable content. By sending to those engaged subscribers, you show these inbox providers that people want to receive your emails because they enjoy the content and they want to engage with it. That in turn allows you to land where you want to be in the inbox. It is more important than ever to send to these engaged subscribers and to forget about those people who are not engaging with your emails. This is where list cleaning comes in, and this is a habit that you should be doing at least every 3 to 6 months. When we clean our email list, we take a look at all of our subscribers and filter out who has not engaged with our emails recently. Depending on how often you're sending, your filter might be something like, have they engaged in the last 90 days or have they engaged in the last quarter or year or 6 months, whatever it is that you want it to be. We then take those subscribers who have not engaged with our emails and we do one of 3 things. We either delete them entirely, unsubscribe them, or we can move them to a separate segment that we can exclude later. Let's take a minute and talk about those different options and what that looks like inside of Flowdesk. So which direction is the right direction? That is totally up to you and your personal preference. The cleanest way to clean your email list is to delete your subscribers. This removes them entirely from your Flowdesk email list. However, this also removes any history you have with this subscriber. So if you want to see when they originally subscribed to your list, or all of the segments that they've opted into, or what they've purchased, whatever it may be, you do not want to delete them because again, deleting those subscribers will remove their historical data. However, if you delete a subscriber, you will be able to add them back to Flowdesk via a CSV upload or by them subscribing again through an integration or a Flowdesk form. Your next option is to unsubscribe them. When you unsubscribe somebody in Flowdesk, you will no longer be able to email them and they will be marked as unsubscribed. However, you do retain historical information for the subscriber. You will be able to see when they subscribed, what they've opted into, and all of that information that you've collected about them over time. If you attempt to re-add somebody who is unsubscribed via CSV upload, they will remain unsubscribed in Flowdesk. They can, however, resubscribe to your list if they fill out a Flowdesk form. The next option is to take all of these cold subscribers and move them into a dedicated segment just for them. For me, I like to call this segment cold subscribers, and then I make sure to exclude that segment from any emails that I send. This keeps these subscribers as active on your email list. However, it gives you the ability to exclude them from any sends that you have. This also gives you the ability to attempt to re-engage them down the line. However, as we are approaching Black Friday, and with all of these inbox providers really watching your engagement rate, you want to make sure that you are very strategic about any re-engagement campaigns that you're planning. If you do decide to attempt to re-engage these subscribers, make sure your sender reputation is in a good spot. Also, be ready to push pause on your re-engagement campaign. If it's not going well, or if you drop below a certain percentage for your open rates, you might want to push pause to prevent your sender reputation from being damaged further. Again, you're going to want to be strategic about any re-engagement campaign that you run, especially as we approach Black Friday. This is the time of year when you want your sender reputation to be the strongest, and sending a re-engagement campaign might be a fast way to damage that sender reputation if you're not careful. Let's talk about how to clean your email list in Flowdesk. I'm going to come into Flowdesk and click on the Audience tab. Next, I'm going to click on Filter. And then I'm going to add a filter. I'm going to scroll down to Last Activity. Now, for this example, let's say I want to see anybody who is not active in the last 6 months. I'm going to change this to is not in the last 6 months. I'm going to go ahead and click Apply. Now I get to decide if I want to delete these subscribers, unsubscribe them, or simply move them to a different segment. To do either one of those three things, I'm going to come over here, click on the checkbox next to subscriber, and click Select All. Once I've selected all of these subscribers, I can choose which action I want to take right here. Okay, so now let's talk about the second part here, which is warming your list. If you are somebody that has recently moved platforms, authenticated your domain, hasn't sent to anybody in a long time, or you're planning on ramping up your volume, you need to do something called warming your list. If you fall into one of those categories and you blast your email list, you are very likely to earn yourself a one-way ticket straight to the spam folder. Because here's the thing, inbox providers do not like surprises. They see this sudden increase in volume or a new sender or whatever it might be, and they instantly see you as suspicious. That is how you'll end up in the spam folder. But if instead you start sending small batches of emails to your most engaged subscribers first, you are signaling trust to these email platforms. If I send to my top 50 fans, they open it, the inbox providers see that, they say, wow, that must be valuable because everybody opened it. And then a few days later, maybe I send it to the next 200 subscribers. Again, since they're my top subscribers, they're the people that historically have been the most engaged, I'm gonna see a pretty good engagement rate from that email. Again, telling these inbox providers that I'm a trustworthy sender and my content is valuable. Well, I continue sending batches of emails, gradually increasing over time to build that trust with these platforms. That way, when I am ready to send to my full list or to larger segments of my list, it's not a surprise because these platforms recognize that I'm a trustworthy sender and that I have sent to these subscribers before. Now, this step can take you a few weeks. Again, that's why we're talking about this now and not the week before Black Friday. So it's really important you sit down and take some time to do this, and I'll show you exactly how you can warm your list in Flowdesk.
The first thing we want to do when warming our email list is to create our warming segments. Now, depending on how many subscribers you have will determine how many segments you're going to need. We're going to want these segments to gradually increase in size, starting with the most engaged subscribers first. I like to start with about 50 subscribers and then jump up to about 200 and then 500 and then 850 and so on. There's no perfect formula here, but the more gradual you do this and the more sends that you send, the better your warming will be. For the sake of time and this example, I'm going to create 3 warming segments. To do that, I'm going to click on Audience and then Segments and create a new segment. I'm going to call it Warming Number 1. I'm going to repeat this process for each of my new segments. And again, depending on your list size, you will likely have more warming segments than just 3. We're just using this number for this example. Next, I want to get the subscribers that belong in these segments. Now, there are multiple ways to do this, but I'm going to show you how to do it with a CSV export. I find this method to be the quickest way to do this. To access a CSV file with my subscriber engagement information, I'm going to come up here to Analytics, scroll down to the bottom, and then I'll see Performance by Subscriber. Now go ahead and click on the download button here on the right. This will trigger a CSV download that will be sent to my inbox. Once that's ready, go ahead and open that CSV file. Now here I have all of my subscribers with information about their open rates and their click rates and how many emails they've received. Now, however you want to organize this is totally up to you. For this example, I'm going to go ahead and sort by the number of emails I've sent them. And then I'm going to come over here and sort by their open rate. This will give me my subscribers that have the best open rate, starting with those who have received the most emails. Again, however you want to do this, or if you want to use another calculation for your engagement rate, you can do that. The choice is yours. So once I have this sorted, I want to take the first 50 of these subscribers and put them into their own CSV file. To do that, I'm going to go ahead and create a new spreadsheet. And then I'm going to come in here and simply grab the first 50 of these subscribers. I'm going to copy them and paste them into this new CSV. You want to make sure that there's no empty columns or they will not upload correctly into Flowdesk. Okay, once I have this, I'm going to come up to File, Export, CSV, Save, call it Warming Number 1. There we go. Close out of this one. I'm going to go ahead and remove these subscribers that I have already added. And I'm going to repeat the same process, but with the next 200 or so. Go ahead and grab those 200, copy them, open a new spreadsheet, paste them in, File, Export, CSV, Save, Warming Number 2. Remove these from the list, and then continue this process until all of my subscribers are in a CSV. Once I have those CSVs created, I'm going to come back to Flowdesk, go to my audience and then segments, and I'm going to open up my first warming segment. To add the subscribers, I'm going to click Add Subscriber, Upload CSV, and select Warming Number 1. Here, I'm going to go ahead and map any fields that I need to. And then watch them upload. Click finish, give it a refresh, and you'll see your subscribers add to this segment. Now, these subscribers are already in Flowdesk, and by uploading the CSV, it does not duplicate your subscribers. However, it will add your existing subscribers to that new segment. You're going to repeat this process for each of your warming segments. And there we go. Once you're done uploading your subscribers, give them a couple of minutes to fully import and add to that segment. You can refresh the page to see the progress. Once your segments are created, we're going to want to send an email to each of these segments with a few days in between them. I'm going to come over here to email, and I'm going to open up an email I already created for my warming process. Now, when you send this email, it could be something exciting, like a new download or VIP access to something for your subscribers. You want this email to be engaging and encourage them to interact. For this example, I have an email where I'm asking them a question about what they want to learn about. I'm going to open that email, click next, choose my subject line and preview text, come to add segments, include warming number 1, and then I'm going to either send this email now or schedule it for later. Once I send this email, give it a couple of days and then come back to take a look at the analytics. Make sure everything looks good and then continue on with the next email. You're going to continue this process until each of the warming segments has received an email.
Once you have warmed your list, stay consistent. Consistency matters to these inbox providers. And as we go into Black Friday and the sales seasons, you're gonna want to make sure that these inbox providers are not surprised by any of your sends. Look, I know this is not a glamorous conversation. Cleaning your list consistently and warming your domain is probably the last thing you want to do. However, it is the key to Black Friday success with email marketing. Do the work now, and by the time your campaigns go live on Black Friday, inbox providers will see you as a trusted sender and make sure your emails land exactly where you want them to be. So let's go, let's get started, and remember that every send between now and Black Friday is one step to a better sender reputation. Happy emailing and wishing you the best and most successful Black Friday you've ever had.